India's real estate sector, like many others, was hammered by the pandemic. With real estate now seeing a revival, another sector, proptech, is also hoping for better days. To get a sense of where the proptech sector is in the country and the outlook for the future, we have with us today Abhilash Narahari, co-founder and CEO of Ivy. Abhilash, good to have you with us today.
Hi, Pran. Good to be here.
Great. So let's get on with the conversation. And my first question to you would be the rise of prop techs in India. How do you think the market will shape up in the future? More importantly, where are you guys now in terms of the sector?
Got it. So, if we look at prop tech as an industry, right, we should firstly understand that real estate is one of the industries which has been fairly slow to adopt technology. Uh, at Ivy Homes, we are in the home buying and selling space. What we essentially do is we make instant offers using our money to buy homes from people who are looking to sell them. Within the space that we operate, innovation has been fairly slow. Even now, majority of resale happens through what is essentially a digital classified, in the same form that it existed 10 years ago. Whereas most of the other sectors into which technology has penetrated, things have progressed a lot more. That being said, we see the next 5 years as a very important time for PropTech, because technology adoption has been increasing across multiple avenues. Firstly, there has been business model innovation. It could be whether it is through some things like fractional ownership of property, it could be through co-living spaces. Secondly, there has been technology being used for improving the customer experience in certain aspects of real estate. One example has been virtual tours for, say, house buying. That is something which has really boomed in the last few years. And thirdly, we see a lot of new technologies coming up, whether it is on the blockchain side for security or in the 3D rendering, 3D modeling side. These technologies will inevitably have a very strong fit with real estate, which is why over the next few years we expect PropTech to really do well.
Right. So when it comes to, you did touch upon it in your earlier answer, but what are some of the aspects that technology can touch when it comes to real estate sector? I remember, years ago there was this entire, offering around virtual reality and augmented reality, and how you can visualize a real estate space sitting at your home. I'm not very sure. I don't think that really took off. So then, where is technology, and how do we, ensure that it plays a vital role in real estate?
Sure. So the thing with technology, right? It's only when the underlying infrastructure develops can technology be used for various sectors, and real estate is a classic example of that. If we look at technology improvements or new technologies where I think real estate can really benefit from, there are three that I would like to speak about. One is just big data and analytics. It's only now do we have a lot of information when it comes to, say, real estate transactions, when it comes to locality specific features, information through satellites and maps. Using all of this big data, there can be several applications which can be built up. Ivy Homes is one of those companies where big data has been a crucial aspect through which we build out our offering. Similar applications, are being built out across other sectors as well. The second technology that I want to talk about is blockchain. Real estate contracts are traditionally extremely cumbersome, extremely complicated, and there is a big lack of security as well, which is why things like having original documentation is still so important in India. Blockchain, by the virtue of its design, can handle this to a very, very good extent. It's only about building a solution which kind of incorporates all the relevant stakeholders there. The third piece, which is something you also mentioned, Pram, which is around virtual reality and augmented reality. We have seen in the last few years, there have been several developments which has really brought down the cost of development when it comes to doing a virtual home tour. This could be, and in fact, now 3D renders and virtual home tours have almost become a staple for most of the branded, real estate developers, because at the end of the day, they are selling a building which doesn't yet exist. The other very important thing is, even for fully built structures, now it's very easy to map out like a 3D walkthrough or a 3D visual of a particular room or a particular space with LiDAR and technology now available in certain iPhones and iPads. So that's also a space that I really expect to boom over the next few years.
Right. How has all this changed the behavioral pattern for homeowners and home buyers?
I think we're at a stage where adoption still hasn't become mainstream. I think going forward, using this will help create solutions which will stand out in the market. I don't think any of this has become mainstream yet for it to significantly impact behavior of the home buyer.
Where do you think in India, which are the pockets, which are the cities that you are seeing substantial activity when it comes to proptech, and also a revival in, say, real estate, and where are these consumption pockets?
Sure. So let me try and answer the two separately, right? When it comes to a big revival in proptech or use of proptech, I think it has to do with the demographics of the end user, right? I am based out of Bangalore. I might have that local bias, but I have seen around me, there has been adoption has been a lot easier for several of these new technologies. This could be, anything from, I spoke about virtual tours, right? It's almost like a given now that if it's a premium development, a high quality virtual tour would be present. If we are looking at some of these newer business models as well, like fractional real estate, even that we have seen has had quite a bit of adoption of late, and that adoption has come from most, not just Bangalore, but most of the larger cities. When it comes to real estate, see, real estate in India, especially residential real estate, had a lull for about 6 to 8 years starting from 2014-15, right? Things have been fairly flat. It's only in 2022 that we have seen a revival. We have seen prices increase fairly significantly across the board. And I don't think it has been limited to one or two cities. I think across India, we have seen a revival in residential real estate demand.
Is it because of pent-up demand? Is it that have more disposable income? What is happening?
I think it is a combination of pent-up demand for sure, along with the fact that after a few years, there has finally been more clarity in the sector, right? So in 2016, there was a big impact as well, a perceived impact of demonetization. Then due to implementation of RERA, which is the Real Estate Regulatory Act, the real estate market was fairly affected for a couple of years, where home buyers were still in the wait and watch mode. After which the pandemic hit in 2020, 2021. So it is essentially demand which has been pent up over those 4-5 years, which we see finally coming to life in 2022.
Right. Are Indian markets anyway getting influenced by the international real estate trends? How is it different from how is the Indian market different from, say, other Western countries?
So real estate demand and prices have historically been fairly independent of global trends, right? If we have data for the last 25 years, and over 25 years, we have seen the Indian market behave fairly differently. This is because of a couple of large structural reasons. I also want to preface by saying that I'm only talking about residential real estate here. Commercial, industrial behaves differently. So we're only talking about home prices. See, home buying globally is heavily dependent on mortgages. It's the same case with India as well. In India, most mortgages or all mortgages are essentially floating rate, right? Which means as the RBI revises their repo rates, people's EMIs would accordingly increase or decrease. This removes any incentive for the home buyer to time the interest rate market. Globally, there is a lot more dominance of fixed rate mortgages. So their prices are almost directly linked with the mortgage rates. So if you take the market like the US, for example, mortgage rates were between 2 to 3% in 2022. And now those same mortgages are between 5 and 6%. So, and these are 30-year fixed rate mortgages. So somebody who could buy $1 million house by paying an EMI of say $8,000 a month, now that same person would need to pay an EMI of $12,000 a month, which is why the home price accordingly gets adjusted. That is something we don't see in India. And that's the biggest structural reason why home price movements are not as correlated in India as they are globally. Secondly, we are also kind of blessed with the fact that we are a growing economy with very large migration into cities. Because the economy is growing, there is more and more people coming into cities. There inevitably has been some kind of consistent demand for houses.
Last question to you would be, how has the journey of Ivy Home been till now? Share some milestones.
Sure. So we are a fairly young company. We launched in Jan of 2022. So we're just a year old now. As I mentioned, what we essentially do is we make offers, we buy the house, and then we refurbish and further sell it, right? Over the past 12 months, we've had a very interesting journey. We started from nothing. We're now at a scale where we are on a run rate to do revenue of about 100 crores a year. And we are present only in Bangalore. In fact, we launched in a few micro markets in Bangalore. Now we're covering large parts of this one city, but we're seeing fairly quick adoption to what we offer. It helps that home buying and selling is so complicated, and we're able to offer a solution that makes things a lot easier for the customer.
Right, making things easier for the customers. Thank you so much for talking to us, Abhilash. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Fran. Very nice speaking to you.